Hi, my name is Steve, and you're now watching The Konekt.
Amazing, 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 Maze. Steve, we just want to say thank you. And just before Steve, we start your story, I just want to, give you a big up because Steve has been the guy who's been watching our videos since day one, man.
Thank you so
Big
much,
up yourself,
Pete.
Steve. Big up yourself, man. We really see you and we appreciate you as the Konekt.
Yeah.
Thank you for that support, that morale.
Yeah.
I remember there's sometimes I used to tell Steve, hey, what's up? Have you watched that video? I haven't seen your comment. Because Steve is that guy, man. Thank you for the support. You've always supported us since we started.
Yeah.
And we see that support and we appreciate you that much. That's why we have you here today.
Yeah.
And basically, before we start, so basically we want you to have a bit of an introduction. Who's Steve? Because nimeanza on a very high. So people just tell people who Steve is. Just a bit of an introduction about Steve.
Oh, okay. Yes. Thank you so much, Pete, again for having me here. I know it's been like, how many? 2 years? 3 years?
Yay!
Yeah.
Going
So,
three. This is the
yeah,
third year. Yeah.
actually remember when the Konekt started, it started actually in my house.
Yes.
Yeah, in Dandenong. Yeah. So the first interview was
The
with
first
Pauline.
video ever.
Yeah, it was with Pauline, and that was to be like next. I didn't know that next would be like
Will take that long.
It would be almost like 3 years down the line.
Yes.
So thank you so much. I think it was worth waiting because a lot has happened in the last couple of years. And yeah, so basically my name is Steve, as you heard, yeah, and I'm married to Pauline. I think many of you know Pauline. And yeah, so I've been in Australia like around almost 3.5 years now, because I came in 2020 around the October during the lockdown. So that's when I came to Australia, so to join Pauline. Yeah.
Oh, amazing, amazing. We're going to talk about the lockdown and how you arrived.
Yeah,
but before we get there, Steve, so I want you to take us back as far as you can. And maybe you can tell us why you chose the career you chose and the path you chose. So take us back, as maybe you can take us back to where that decision started.
Yep.
And maybe where did you study? Where did you go to school? Maybe just for our audience just to understand.
Yeah, okay. So basically, I'll start with my primary school. So I was born and raised in Kisumu. So after that, I joined school, primary school at Lake Primary School in Kisumu, and then finished primary school and joined high school just across the fence to Kisumu Boys High School. So there, I think, first of all, even before I go to joining high school, after primary school, my ambition was always to join Story Boys. I remember my dad going and doing for me the paperwork, the application. But when the results came in, it was a bit competitive. I missed with like 20 points. So I felt disappointed. But you see, I still have other vision, like I'll still excel no matter where I was. So I reluctantly joined Kisumu Boys, which was my like a provincial school then. And that's where I did my now like high school or O-levels or year 12 here in Australia. So I finished Kisumu Boys High School, couple of years ago. So I won't say which year was that. Yeah, but when I finished, so I was actually not sure about what I wanted to be or what I wanted to study, because when we were like selecting the courses, so I'd seen like medicine, engineering, and law. So I just selected a course for the sake of that. But after finishing now, like high school, a lot of people at that time is when mobile phones were coming up. So it was having that a mobile phone was something very big, because it was like the evolution of like the mobile technology had just come in. So people are having those, for lack of a better word, they used to call the Nokia C113 or something like that. So those were the phones. So if you have a phone, because it's just a phone for just making a call and maybe texting sometimes. So there were those. The technology at that time was what you call 2G. So it was that just the basic technology, mobile technology, and I was fascinated actually. And then there was something called computer packages. So my interest grew at that time. And I forgot to say something. Actually, my interest in computers started when I was in primary school. I remember when we were in class 7 or class 8, thereabout, our primary school head, now the principal or the master, had a collaboration with some Swedish school So you remember there was those days when there was something called Pemple. So you write, you have a collaboration with a school overseas, and then you write letters to them, and they write letters to you back. So I remember getting a letter about, oh, we have horses and all that. Some things you can't relate, and you don't know what to write back, but you're writing just to write a story. But what after that, after the engagement, they sent us computers that time. So we had the first set of computers. So we had a computer lab, and me, the fascination of just going to a keyboard and typing my name and seeing like my name on the screen was something that I wanted to know how do computers work and why they work that way. That's something that actually triggered my interest. And when I joined high school, unfortunately our school wasn't offering computer studies, because some schools were offering computer studies as part of like the subjects. So that was like a disappointment, but still didn't kill that dream. And then afterwards, after I finished high school, like a past, my teachers, my parents, everyone wanted me to do medicine, but I didn't want to do medicine. Okay, I was good in bio, in the sciences and all that, but I just wanted to do something different because I had that passion for computers. And I used to watch a bit of some programs, TV programs, and one of the TV programs was called 24. So it was like programs where like you seeing like, someone has committed a crime, they're using a computer to try locate, to do like a facial recognition of someone. I used to wonder how these things work, how this technology work. So that actually drew my interest into tech, into like IT and all that. So I went and changed, when we're revising our courses for uni, I went and changed my course from medicine and then changed to computer science. I didn't tell anyone because I knew everyone will be like against it, because at that time telling your parents you're not doing engineering, you're not doing medicine was like a no-go, because like doctors, engineers, lawyers were like
the big thing.
The big thing, yeah, the big people. So computers and computer studies was not something people thought it. People thought our computer just going to sit in a cyber or something like that. Yeah, that's what
operate a cyber cafe.
Yeah, running a cyber cafe because people are not exposed, and it was something that was coming up, something was new. But for me, that was a niche. It was real curiosity that I needed to actually learn. So after that, I finished and I joined the University of Nairobi. I remember... Yeah, I remember when I joined the University of Nairobi, my dad was disappointed that I didn't actually do medicine. And actually, there were calls made out to I had to go to the dean in the med school. Like, I need to change my course. So I didn't settle the first few months. I didn't settle my in computer science degree because there was that push. Everyone, my aunties, everyone is talking to do medicine. And then when I went to the dean of med school, they were like, yeah, can I join medicine? But I already missed some bit of like anatomy and all that. So I would like have to wait
for the next intake.
The next, and 1 year. And I was already sat 2 years already before I joined uni. So I was like, no, I'm not going to do like 3 years just to wait to do this course for the sake, something I don't like. So I just stuck with my course. And then after that, I started my now being serious with my computer studies. I was made the class rep. I became a class rep at my uni from like first year to final year. And so during that time, with my interest in that, we had a collaboration project. So at third year, we had a collaboration project between our university and Stanford. So at that time, because of that collaboration that we had between Stanford and the University of Nairobi, we were actually selected to be able to represent the University of Nairobi in the US for like a design thinking course. So that actually opened again some doors for me, because I was able to, being among the 4 people that were selected to represent our uni in Stanford. So yeah, so I went to Stanford, and again, that was another exposure that I had. It was my first time actually traveling overseas, traveling outside Kenya. And I was among were 4 students and a lecturer. So we went to Stanford for 2 weeks.
How old were you, man? Stanford.
Yeah, I was in third year at the University of Nairobi. So
wow. That's amazing.
Oh, even before I go, even before we travel.
Yeah.
So we had this engagement collaboration between Stanford and University of Nairobi. We were doing a project called how we can use tech to improve access to healthcare for those people living in urban slums. Those are like projects. So so through that project, these students came into Nairobi, and we went to some Kibera, Kariandutu slum in Thika, and all that to just like talk to people, get requirements and all that, and from there design like systems, like mobile systems to be able to help them access healthcare. So one of the projects I remember was called Emaji. Emaji was actually just how you can use tech or mobile tech to be able to increase access to like clean water for those people living in slums. So we worked with Safaricom. I remember at that time, one of the time went to Safaricom, the main HQ, like you're there in the boardroom with this Safaricom head of foundations, was called Sandra Ojiambo, I remember. And it was just surreal because like there are places I couldn't imagine, but through that opportunity and exposure, I actually got access to those places. And because of how we did it, how we did that project, we were invited to go back to Stanford, now to go to the US for that. So we went for 2 weeks course in design thinking. And then apart from the course, we got the opportunity to actually go to the big tech company. We went to Google, we went to Facebook, we went to Apple. So it was good actually being in those companies, just getting to see how these big tech companies operate and all that. So it's like, that was something that actually gave me some fulfillment. And after that, I was like, I'll need to be able to like maybe work overseas one day. And that was the thing. I didn't know how it will be, but that then. But yeah, so I'm here today.
Wow. So some few questions going through my mind right now. One is, how did you stand your gun to your parents? And you're going to talk to our young people, because there are some people who have a passion for a certain course, but they don't end up doing that because their parents are actually pushing them towards the other course. How did you do it? What is the trick?
For me, actually, there was no trick. Actually, I just stood.
You stood my ground.
Stood my ground. I actually, because they couldn't understand. So I was like, okay, I'll go. And I changed and didn't tell them. And I knew I'm at uni, but later on I realized, I was still stuck. I didn't do the course that they wanted me to do. So, because it's something that I couldn't explain to them. And so I was like, it's about my future. And at the end of it all, you follow your passion, because you need to know, like, there's that drive, that passion that you have in something that will push you, like, to overcome those challenges.
Amazing. And how did you, now studying, now you've studied computer, and now you are at Nairobi University. Before now we go to how you got a job in Nairobi. How did you feel when now you've started seeing it's a bigger thing that you even imagine? Now you're in Google, you're in Facebook, you're in the US. And this is something that your parents were actually not looking at as a big cost. How did that make you feel as a young man?
I felt vindicated in one way. I felt a sense of accomplishment, because we were the first cohort of actually those people who were selected. Actually, there was no program like that before. And I remember one of the people we worked with in the healthcare industry was told me, like, Steve, like, you don't know some of these things, just give it your all, because people are like, why are you going for those video conferences at 5 p.m. With these people? People didn't see the need. Like, people see, because we were not told in advance. If people were told in advance, when you join this program, there is an opportunity to go to the US, everyone will have joined. But there was nothing. So we just said, it's them that saw like the dedication, the hard work, the commitment and all that. So they're like, we need these people to come here, and like, because they were impressed. It was the first time when they were impressed about it. So, and I was a class level leader. So it showed a bit of like leadership skill, because it was not easy getting people to like, to come together and be able to like do what we're expected to do, because sometimes I had to take on additional responsibility, because at the end of the day, you are representing the University of Nairobi. So
Wow, and maybe right there, message to young people who are in uni, whether here, whether in Kenya, and they're doing the course, slackish, sitting back, not putting any effort. What message do you have for them? What actually worked for you? What message do you have for them to actually, get in there and get it done? What message do you have for the young people?
I know we are in a generation that where we need a quick fix. We need to see the end of the stick before we actually commit. So that's something that I'll learn to tell people, like, you never know these opportunities that come. Grab an opportunity, do your best, and leave the rest to God. That's the thing I'll say. Yeah, because it is we cannot see the end before we start the beginning. But we never know where this road, when you start it, where it will lead you to, because sometimes it's more something that just even be a journey of faith, I'll say. Yeah, so it's just for you to just, whatever you do, whatever you've been told to do, whatever you've been given to do, take that opportunity, because maybe there are others who are actually longing for that opportunity, but they don't have. Maybe it's a golden opportunity for you. Maybe you're here. Yeah, maybe you're in Kenya or something like that, but you're given opportunity to study. Just do your best, the best you can, because I know each and every person knows, like, they're like the limits. They have their limit. Yeah, they can't push themselves to. Because if you give the best of yourself, then you can never regret, because you're like, I gave it all. Yeah.
Wow, powerful, man. Powerful. I love that. So now let's talk about transitioning from now being a student and getting a job, especially more in Nairobi, because sometimes people think, or they say there's no jobs in Nairobi. So we want to hear, how was that journey for you, and how did you even get a job in your career that you studied computer science?
So for me, I think one of the things that I learned, which actually helped us, was networking. So what will happen is, like, we used to organize sessions where we call people from the industry to come back and talk to students and all that. So like, it was where we have the PS in the ICT coming to the school and using that opportunity to meet people in the field and all that. So we had people who were like, most of them were former alumni of the University of Nairobi. So they will be able to actually come and we'll talk to them, tell you what the expectations are in the industry and all that, and also maintaining good rapport with the lecturers, because some of these jobs that came through was like, someone calls the lecturer, hi, and I have a job, an opening in this place. Do you have someone who is looking for a job or something like that? In fact, that's how I got my job, because there was a former student of the University of Nairobi there was an event, and in that event, there was the head of IT for DHL that was there, and they were like, oh, we have some opening here in IT, do you know someone? And I was like, okay, send your CV. Because at first it was to be an internship, and that is the thing. I didn't actually look at, I needed a job, now this is an internship or something like that. I was like, okay, this is an opportunity I've gotten, let me start with it, yeah. So I did an internship, and it wasn't paying much, if you look at it, yeah. So I was still staying at my aunt's place. But it was something, because I grabbed the opportunity, worked hard on the opportunity, and that's how I grew from, I joined DHL, and then I grew from an intern to now, when I left, it was an IT service delivery manager in charge of East Africa. So I grew up through the ranks. Yeah, so
wow,
that's
right there. There's something I want us to learn today, because from an intern getting that job, and some of them actually, some people lose the job while they're intern, because they get there and they don't get the job done. But you got the job done.
Yeah.
How did you grow from being an intern to being a manager overseeing East Africa, and what things did you do to make yourself, at top of your league? Because I'm sure there's so many people who are actually vying for such positions, but what made you stand out? What are some of those nuggets that you want to share with some people today about work ethic, about, getting the job done? What did you do at that time?
Yeah, so what I did actually was being flexible to take responsibilities, because I remember when I joined, after a month, there was needs some people to be able to go to Tanzania and to do some bit of audits and all that. That audit was more operational task. So we were told, so we needed to go to TZ and to do audit on behalf of Airtel. So audit of all their stores the vouchers. Now they call them vouchers. They like the airtime
Yeah.
and all that. Like what is in the physical stock at the stores matches what is in the system. Because Airtel was one of the clients for DHL, so they needed help. And so apart from the IT work I was doing, like, can we do that? So I was like, yeah, why not? Just my, it was again my first trip working at DHL. So after a month, so I went to TZ. I went, actually traveled like for like almost half of Tanzania. So from Bukoba, Musoma, Shinyanga, those places, Mwanza, Tanga, and all. So we traveled like by road. Actually, it was TZ is very, very big. Very big. I think I've traveled in TZ more than I've traveled in Kenya. So yeah, so I took that responsibility and just additional roles and all that. So with that, that was like a trait that is also like you can be able to ready to take additional roles. And I remember like also being ready on call to be able to support the business, because they're 24/7 business. So sometimes you be called at night, maybe like the system is down, orders are not being picked in the system, and you need to figure out. So it was something that I used to do. I used to volunteer actually to do. For me, it was also a learning process, because one thing with IT evolves. IT is a growing field, so you could need to be continually learning. You can't sit there or you'll be declared redundant. So I used to take additional roles, yeah, and just go the extra mile. Yeah, because I remember, like, let me give this case example. There was a time, it's called at 2 a.m. And you see, at 2 a.m., we, as a company, as a supply chain company, we have KPIs to the client. So at that time, the client was Unilever, Safaricom, BAT, EABL, all that. And these companies are moving goods across the country. And then you see, like, there's no delay. There should be any delay, because you're like a KPI. You have a KPI to like deliver goods within a certain period of time. Because you need to, someone goes in the morning at a Tasky supermarket, they can find Blue Band, or they can find Omo or something, or Sunlight. So these are things that are coming from the warehouse. And if the system is that there's nowhere replenishing of orders or order picking is done. You get. So I was called because at that time Unilever as a client, like also for them, they're being called by the customers, so they need to deliver, because they are being paid to deliver these products to the supermarkets. Yeah, so to them also, they need to honor this side of the bargain. So it's a lot of pressure. You have to come in the system, go to check, go to the server, check where the problem is. If it's a network issue, if it's a server issue, and all that, and just try to fix it up so that at least the business can continue and all that. So it was part of, for me, like a learning curve, like to be able to every time to be available most of the time. I know, yeah, there's a time you can say no, yeah, but to be able to be like, you are able to be counted, you're able to be reliable. That's the thing.
Amazing. And with IT being a very, revolving, before we come to your next journey,
yeah,
IT is very revolving and changing,
yeah,
and all that, right?
Yeah.
So how do you keep with emerging trends and, things are changing every single time? How do you keep yourself, above board, with a very evolving field?
Yeah, so basically how I keep myself abreast with what's happening is just through reading. Because there's like IT blogs and all that, just to read what's happening, watching like IT channels and all that, and also like doing the professional certification courses. So IT has a lot of certification courses that are out there. And this is what actually companies are looking at. It's not even about your qualification of your bachelor's degree qualification. It's about the certification. Are you like an Azure certified professional? Are you able to handle AWS? Are you able to handle this system or all that system? So basically, most of this system are vendor system, and you need to learn that system. You need to be certified as a professional in that system. So you need to be always continue learning. You need to be motivated to learn. It's not easy, because you need to always keep abreast and learn.
Amazing. And for our young people out there thinking, IT is it's an easy field, get there, get the good money, get the good job. what advice do you have for them to, as a person who's grown in all the ranks, what really is a mindset, or what is the work ethic that is needed, and how should they carry themselves as a corporate person working in the IT field?
For me, IT is a field that, like I said before, is a field that is evolving. It's a field that has cut across all niches. It has cut across all fields. So, like, there is no field that doesn't incorporate technology or IT in the sense. So it is something that there is still a lot to learn. There is a lot of opportunity. So you need to be always continually learning, because people out there, people are actually giving themselves, people are learning, people are becoming more smarter and smarter as each day goes by. Yeah, so you need to be always just continue to learning. IT is not that complex like field. There is a lot in IT. There is the complexity. They are depending on which level or maybe domain that you're going to study. But anyone can go into IT. Anyone can learn IT. It doesn't matter what actually maybe you've learned in the bachelor's or your previous background. It doesn't matter. But it needs commitment. It is like you continue to study and to learn. Yeah.
Amazing. And is there a field that maybe you think is more, lucrative than another one? Because IT, as you said, IT is very huge. What field would you maybe suggest for someone to study right now? Someone who's looking to study in IT, what field would you tell them to study? What advice do you have in terms of that?
For me, IT, I'll put two fields. One is big data, so data analytics and data science. That is very big, because there is a lot there's a lot of data going out there. So people need making sense of this data. Supermarkets want to make the sense of the data of shoppers on what they buy, for them to be able to plan on what to stock, and like the shopping pattern of different demographics. Like calls will love to know, like, Africans tend to buy this more than this, you get. So they'll need to, like, when there's a place where there's maybe like a bigger African population, they need to stock this because this is what they buy most. So there's a lot of data. So they mine this data and they want to make sense of that. So data analytics and data science is big. And in relation to that is cybersecurity. Because this data that is here out there, there's a lot of data. We sign up to many things. Every information every year, put our information out there. Like, we don't know how much of our data is actually out there. But now with security of that data, that's something that is very big. And if you look very well, the Australian government's main focus is in technology, is cybersecurity. Because that's the only field that has a minister, the Minister of Home Affairs and the Minister for Cybersecurity, Claire O'Neill. So that's like the only field, because cybersecurity has become the tool, the new warfare. People are now fighting with bombs and all that. People are fighting with cybersecurity. So cybersecurity is a very big thing. And that's why the government is investing a lot in cybersecurity. And for me, it's a field that is still going to be, like, for many years to come, the field that's going to be very key. In fact, there are more vacancies in cybersecurity than in any other job in Australia.
Wow. Right there, man. So if you want to study, if you're looking for what to study in the technology space, I think cybersecurity and big data, data analytics. So now let's talk about your transition now from Africa now to coming to Australia. What was the main reason that actually made you to migrate and come to Australia?
Yeah, so basically I didn't actually know it will come to this way, that to come to Australia, because when I went to the US, I was like, I'll actually one day work abroad. So my focus was in the UK, because I was doing a master in the UK, or go back to the US. So Australia was never part of the plan. But life happened. And I got married. Someone who's in Australia. So so Pauline was here, and then we got married in 2019. And that is our story for another day. But that's how my Australian journey began in 2019. So when after the wedding and all that. And then I started the process of actually applying to come to Australia. My first visa, or a visit visa, it was actually denied. And then the second visa was subsequently also denied. So I was actually denied 2 visas before I got the third visa to come to Australia. And for me, it actually opened my eyes because I made some assumption in the first visa because I was like, I've traveled to the US and came back. So I didn't see like any reason why I will be denied. At that time, I was still working and actually found things different here. And you can't make assumption. You have to be able to be on top, to be able to get to the details. And that's why I want even to tell people, like, I know we deal with agents, but we need to also get to know the fine details of what, because at the end of the day, when the visa is denied, it's your visa.
Yeah.
It's not an agent's visa. So you need to understand what's happening, what's the changes. You need to be on the top of it. You need to own it. Like, don't leave like, oh, I've given someone to do it and then I forget about it. Yeah. So for me, that helped me actually to learn more. I got interest in like actually the migration program in Australia. I got to study a lot, to learn people's story, and from their experiences, it actually helped me because when we got our visa in June, it was during lockdown. It was in 2020. There was no way I could travel. The borders were actually closed. Nothing could happen. I was there. I'd actually left job. I didn't have a job. It was in COVID. So, because I was actually looking forward to come to Australia. Nobody knew COVID would happen and how long COVID will happen actually. So, what happened? So in July, and then the Australian government, I think, introduced something like now they'll have special consideration for people who are coming in, and most of them want to be citizens and permanent residents, like who are to have a valid reason why they need to be let into Australia. So for me, I actually read through that, and I saw, oh, there's an exemption portal, and I was like, what? Why not try? Like, I just said, let me try. I know it was citizens and permanent residents who were being considered, but let me try. Because it was free. The worst that could happen was a rejection. Nobody, they're not going to charge me anything. I was like, yeah, so just apply. That's the worst can happen is just rejection. And you move on. So I started trying now, like the process of applying for exemption and all that. Got the first rejection. And then, with the exemption, they had like a 7-day decision period, so you don't wait. It's quick. You don't have to wait for long like a visa. So you can actually get denied and then apply another one next week. So it was easy. So I actually started doing. I got a rejection, apply again, and then I see the reason. I try to change things here and there. Apply again the 4th time, and then the 5th time I actually got exempted. I was like, oh wow, it worked. I got exactly like you've been allowed to travel and all. Oh God, I was like, oh no, it was unbelievable, for lack of a better word. Yeah. So I got the exemption to travel. That was I think it was in September, around end of September thereabout. Oh no, it was in October actually, October around 9th, 10th thereabout. So I got the exemption and now had to start looking for flights. And then flights were very expensive. At that time, because the Australian government limited the number of people could come in. So like each and every day, the airlines will be given some quota of who they can carry, how many they can carry actually. And so I used to just check flights. And then one day I checked the flight. I saw like there was one flight at Qatar Airways, because I'd gone to Qatar and just asked if I can get flights. There are no flights to Australia. When you try, you can't get. I got a flight for 4,500. I was like, I can take this one. So I went, tried to book, and I couldn't pay. I could only reserve. Because I needed to actually go to the bank and then pay. So I went the next day to Qatar office in Riverside, and they were like, I got a flight. They were like, how did you get a flight? Like, they checked, oh, I got a flight. Look at this confirmation code. They were like, let's check this confirmation if it's actually real. And they were like, oh, yeah, it's got a flight. I'm like, can I pay? I'm like, okay, we will tell you, just pay, but we won't guarantee you that you will actually, that flight will be on and you actually board. So I said, let me do that. I paid, and I waited. I went to the airport on the 19th to travel, and remember going through the lines. No, I couldn't be checked in because, again, at that time, only the supervisor of the airline could open check-ins for Australia, and they had to call Border Force at that time to confirm, is this person allowed to board? Because most people had boarded and go to Qatar, and they are not allowed to proceed to Australia. So you can imagine I had to wait there, and people are going, those who are transit to other countries, they're going, and you're just waiting for approval. Well, you're really going to give an exemption, but again, you have to get an approval to travel. So here I am waiting, and got that approval, because I actually told those people who are with me, please don't go. We may be going back home together. So yeah, so until I'm sure that I've gotten the green light to go through immigration and all that, and now like I could tell you now you guys can go back home.
Oh.
Yeah, so I went and I got to board the flight, and then the onward flight from Doha to I came through Sydney, yeah, Doha to Sydney, because at that time Melbourne was on lockdown and the international airport was like closed, so I had to go through Sydney. And yeah, that's that journey. When Sydney arrived, and then I had those checks, border force again confirming your name, if you're in the list of those to about to arrive, and then been picked up with a bus so the police car in front, police car behind. We were taken to quarantine. It was a bit scary in the sense nobody was talking to each other. We were going to quarantine. Another process, because it's the police and the army you're dealing with, and then you're going to quarantine for 14 days. Yeah, and so yeah, I went there and quarantined 14 days, and then after 14 days, came out.
Finally.
And I came to Melbourne. And remember during the quarantine period, I had booked a flight because there were no flight, low flights like there are now. So there was just a flight that was leaving, but it was leaving at 2 p.m. But my quarantine time was getting over by 4 p.m. So actually, my time to exit was 4 p.m. But the flight was at 2 p.m. So I actually asked, because they checked me on day 2 and day 10 for COVID and didn't find COVID. So I was negative. So I'll ask them, like, if I can, I also can write a letter to be released, and then so that I can book, I can be able to get my flight. And actually they denied, because they say I'll not have completed the quarantine period. I will have done 13 days and 22 hours. So like I'll be 2 hours short of the 14 days. So they can't allow me. They were ready to pay for me. They paid for me an accommodation to another hotel in the city, like next to the airport. They were ready to take that cost to pay for me to another hotel, so I can travel the next day.
So basically with the whole journey, because there's so much challenges and you facing challenges over and over,
yeah,
from not getting flights. What was keeping you going at that time? Because it's a very big mental toll on yourself. So what really carried you through that time?
For me, it's my faith, actually. That's what I'll say. Because at that time, there was a time of unknown. There was a lot of uncertainty that was going on. And I was like, if God had allowed me to get up to this point, I know he'll actually make a way for me. That was for me like my motivation, that God will make a way one day. God will make a way. So that is what I kept on.
Amazing. Yeah. And then finally, how was the feeling getting reunited to your wife, Pauline? How was that? First day, you've been apart for how long?
So yeah, actually, yeah. So because in 2019,
you did the wedding 2019,
yeah. But we also met in 2019 still.
Yeah.
In between, she'd come somewhere, met in the middle, and then so after that, so between that, it was almost more than a year now. Wow. Yeah, so it was because I came in 2020, so it was more than a year. It was a bit like relieving, for lack of a better word, to just see this process. It was like a big burden that was actually lifted for me, because every day when you're in Kenya, you have like that time they were locked down, you don't have work, and I couldn't actually apply for work. I was actually interviewed for an IT manager position for some company, but I actually rejected that offer to go, because I didn't know when I was actually coming in, because I didn't want, actually, because for the purposes of my integrity and all that, I didn't want to start a job and then after 3 months I quit, because I'll have wasted their time actually doing the recruitment, and then now they start over there fresh. So I just said, okay, for now, I cannot. But you see, at the same time, you're like, should I have done that? Because you don't know how long you're going to wait. But yeah, so it was that mental block that was actually lifted. And it was like, now maybe it's need to start another new beginning in Australia.
And just for someone asking, how did you keep yourself sane? Because you don't have a job, You're waiting for a visa that you don't know if it's coming out. You don't have, sometimes maybe you might have maybe had some savings, but savings go quick. How was your mental, how did you keep yourself sane at that time? What did you do to take care of your mental health?
Yeah, I remember at that time, even like most of the churches were closed actually. So everyone, like we were like, you're just in the house like almost 24/7. Yeah, but like constant communication with family, Pauline, families and friends and all that, just daily checking on each other because everyone was going through something. It was not easy for everyone, but just we had to like constant communication. Sometimes we used to just catch up with friends, like let's do a WhatsApp video call or let's do a Zoom call. We just talk, just like have a chat like we're having now, but virtually. So those are the things we're trying to do, like to try at least be sane in the sense because it wasn't easy. And the difficult part was actually when I came to Australia because that was now more difficult than even when I was in Kenya.
And that's what we want to talk about now. Now you've arrived, the fun has ended, the thrill, you're happy, you've seen your wife, but now the reality comes in. You don't have a job. And yet you're in a country where everything is a bit expensive. Just driving to the car, you need fuel, you need food to put food on the table. You need to provide. You need to be the man of the house, provide. How was that phase for you? How long did it take you for you to get a job? And what job did you get? And how was that phase for you?
For once, to begin with, I'll just say thank you so much to Pauline because she stood into the gap in a sense. Yeah, so what happened is when I came, I didn't actually know it's going to take me very long to get a job. Because I started by just applying for jobs. And I actually didn't know that I actually needed to change like even the format of my CV. I just used what I knew and I was just like applying for jobs. There was no one to actually help or guide me at that time in my field, that is. So I was like, okay, let me just try and apply. So I get interviews, calls, and after that things go quiet. So and I was like, okay, nice. It seems I can't get a job in my field. And when I wanted to try disability at that time, they introduced NDIS screening check. So that is just they were like no new employee can be employed. Can't be onboarded without NDIS screening check. So you can get a job, but you can't start without NDIS screening check. So like everyone who was in the system already was forced to go to and apply, but they could continue working. So the new ones were also applying for NDIS screening check. So because it was introduced for the first time, there was a backlog. It took long actually, because it was introduced in February and it took up to June to actually get that NDIS screening check. You're waiting for NDIS screening check, you can't start any job, you're applying for jobs. And that was that time also, I was still applying for jobs. I was going to LinkedIn, apply for jobs in my field. There was a job I actually applied, did all the interviews. So it was just a matter to sign the contract. And then they asked me for my visa. And so I didn't know like, oh God, that's going to be like a stumbling block. I gave my visa because at that time we was still on we were still studying, so you're still on a student visa. They were like, now this visa has a limit for like you can only work 20 hours a week. But at that time the government had already lifted working hours restriction. But for this organization, they were looking at what is written in the physical visa. Not what's published in the news and all that. There's not in the news, but now this physical document, according to the lawyer, was like, yeah, we know the government has that, but this is what we are going to attach into the system. It says that you are like 20 hours a week work right. So it was disappointing. And but one thing that I actually got from there was I can actually get a job. That it wasn't impossible. It was like I got a job. Now the issue was the visa, not my qualification or anything else. I'm good enough to get a job. Like, yeah, my skills are good enough to get a job. So that motivated me actually. It was like now the visa is beyond me. It's not what I can do. I was like, let me do what I can do. The worst someone can tell you is no. you go. But my from there, my philosophy was don't disqualify yourself unless someone disqualifies you. Yeah. Unless someone says no. Don't say no to yourself first. Yeah. So that's what I actually did. I was like, okay, now I know I can get a job. It's just issue the visa. So I was trying to wait and just because Pauline was to finish school in I think June, July, thereabout. So when she finished school and that now it was sorted, we are like going to 485 visa. I started now applying for jobs again, applying for jobs. And so within that period, when the time I was applying for now she's finished school, it was 8 months of sitting at home. 8 months.
Wow.
The 8 months were very long because you used to waking up and doing something. Actually, I'll say it's almost 8 months plus the months I stayed in Kenya without a job. So it was a lot. It was a bit like a long time actually. Yeah.
And what carried you through that time? Because this is hard, man. Staying in the house, your wife has gone out to work. You're used to an 8 to 5 job. You're overseeing a big team, but now you're seated in the house. How was your state of mind at that time, and what carried you through that time?
Yeah, so I'll not say it was easy because even there was no motivation actually to study. I was trying to get time to, but I actually took time again to study. So I was doing some courses in Udemy, Coursera, and those online platforms. You can do like a short course. That was actually trying to do because most employers, when I say, they'll ask you, what were you doing at this time? Because you can't just say you were sitting.
You can't just sit. Yeah,
you can't just sit.
That's actually a very good message right there. Do something when you're waiting.
Yeah, do something when you're waiting. So I actually had to do something. It wasn't easy, but to push myself to do something while I was waiting. So that kept me actually going, and my faith actually in God actually also kept me going because like you see, when you have a vision of something that you want to be or something that you want to get, no matter how it lays, you still need to stick with that vision. I give an example. Like, for example, you are going from here to the city. And you're supposed to use the freeway, Monash Freeway. And all of a sudden, something happens, and you lose track, and you go through, like, Princess Highway and all that. The GPS will try, as much as possible, you put your destination. The GPS will try
find alternatives, yes.
Reroute your way to your destination. Although you'll be there late.
More hours.
Yeah, it'll take more hours or more minutes to arrive. But at the end of the day, you've arrived. That is what should be the motto. Like, at the end of the day, the focus that you have, that you want to be there, still shouldn't be shaken. You should just continue, because just continue. It is, because life is not a linear graph. It has like challenges and all that. Yeah, so you just need to continue to focus and know that. And when I look at myself, I'm like, okay, yes, if I don't give up, I'll be there where I want to. So I remember I applied for the jobs. I got a bit of 3 promising opportunities.
And this is in your field, IT?
Yeah, this was in my field, yeah. So one was with a financial institution, this institution that does credit checks and all that. Another one was now with my company that I worked with, which was Zella, a startup. And yeah, another one was like with Apple, but Apple was to be more of working the genius, but now that's fixing Apple products and all that. So I actually went for this one with Zella. So Zella is a fintech based in the city in Melbourne. So it was an opportunity for me because I was among the first few employees joining the company. So I actually helped set up the systems, the processes, and all that in IT operations and security. But my focus was to be more in cybersecurity. That is what I was actually working towards. And so I used that time actually at that job to actually learn a lot, because they gave me the opportunity to express myself, the opportunity to do much, to fail often and fail fast, that is. And so through that, I learned a lot. And yeah, and I stayed with the company for 1.5 years. And I was like, now it's time for me to move on. And I moved on from Zella. I went to go a company. I went to the government now, to this council, the city of Stonington. So the city of Stonington is the city next to the Melbourne city.
Melbourne
that is
city. The big city.
Yeah, so like the area from Chadstone all the way to Malvern, Glen Iris, Toorak, Windsor, Armadale, and all that. So that is the council that I was working at, and it was actually good because I was working in the security field, complete cyber security. Yeah, so in the government, and I got to learn a lot as well at that time. And so I stayed with them, and then later on, I transitioned to my current workplace. So I went and I moved. I'm currently at Officeworks in the same field as well. So yeah, that's how the journey has been.
Wow. And right there, I want you to talk to someone, because you said there's a powerful message. You said, I won't disqualify myself until someone disqualifies me.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are coming with skills from Africa.
Yeah.
Right? You have 10, 15 years experience in a certain field, but you get here, you don't even try and apply for such jobs in your career. You don't want to continue with that because you're disqualifying yourself. What are you going to tell them today? Because here you are, you stuck to your guns. While you are waiting, you actually started doing certifications to get ready. What message do you have for them? Because that's really powerful, because there are people who are sitting on their experiences and not really getting to do what they actually studied and what they've practiced for so many years.
Yeah, so like even it wasn't actually easy even for me, I'll say, because like when I joined Zella, I remember by the time I left, I was the only black person, I'll say, in a company of over 200 people. So it was like a bit like intimidating, yeah, in the sense that there's a sense that you can feel a bit inferior in a way. There's inferiority complex in a way, but after just giving yourself that time to just settle in and just stand Australian corporate culture, you're like, yeah, I can do it as well. Whatever he does, I can do as well. So you're like, we all can do it. We had the same education. That is the thing. Like, it's the same thing that we are taught. If IT is IT, there's no Kenyan IT and there's no American IT. There is none. It's the same systems. It's the same system they use, the same tools that we use, the same processes that are there. So it's something, it's I think like what I get from, especially from those who come from Kenya, it's we don't express ourselves. That's the thing. It's by nature or something like that. When you're trying to adapt into this country, it's a bit hard. And a lot of people who will tell you things and all that. They're like, you are in this country to survive, you have to do this and this, you have to do this and this. And that's the thing. So, for you who's come, you'll be like, Pete has been here for many years, so he knows better. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Even if in case whatever is whatever Pete is telling me is actually not true, biased or something like that, but I'll take it as the gospel truth because it's been here for quite some time. But what I want people, like someone to just get to explore. Not even whatever someone tells you should be like a baseline that you're using.
Not the truth.
Not the truth. Just a baseline for you to build up on and for you to find more about it. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of like even visa categories that I've learned people don't know. People are stuck into this and
the
this.
knowns.
The knowns. So there's a lot of opportunities out there. We need to just like get out. Like you see, one thing is the Chinese and the Indians. I'll say they don't like, for lack of a better word, like
they don't conform to one side.
They're brave enough, I'll say. Like they try things. They do a lot of things. And it's not like they're more knowledgeable, but it's because they're brave enough to do it.
To take the risk.
Yes, that's the thing, to take the risk. It's because a lot of the time we are afraid to take a risk. We are on our guard. We want the easy way out. We are in the microwave generation. We want instant stuff. Instant. We don't want to go through the process. The process is not easy. It's a refining process. The process is not easy. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the thing. Even for you, like even when you started this channel, it's like and where it is now, it's taken like a
Oh
process.
man.
Yes.
Yes.
Like a process. Yeah, like it's been a process. So it's this is what people don't want, like the process. Because like we're in a generation where things have been simplified. We have generative AI, like ChatGPT and all that. And AI has been a buzzword. People are saying AI, but when you look at it, AI actually has been there for quite some time. What we have now is just large language models. That's what ChatGPT and all those are, large language models. But AI has been there, machine learning, natural language processing. When you have Siri, talking to Siri to do it, that has been that. That is like taking voice and then translating the voice into text and then and voice back, like something like that. So systems learning like your pattern and all that, and then giving you a bit of what that you need. Those have been there. It's just a new thing that large language models have come up. So we have ChatGPT, we have Copilot, you have Gemini, so and all that. You get. So it is
wanting the easier way.
Yeah. So because it makes it easier, but a lot of people don't know. Like many times, ChatGPT will give you wrong answers. So if you don't know what you're actually like looking for, if you don't have that knowledge to synthesize what you give it, you will be taking everything as it is. That's the thing.
Wow.
Because sometimes I interact with ChatGPT, I'm like, that is false. Oh, and then it will reply, oh, thanks. And now I know. So it's learning again. Because these things are learning. They learn. It's like human being, they learn.
Yeah.
They have like everything.
Yeah.
You get?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is the case for us to just to take that, continue learning. I know it's not easy, because you see, when you are like the corporate culture in Australia is different than the corporate culture in Kenya. Here you will be, it's not about the papers actually. It's about what you can do. You get? It's about your results, about what you can do. And it will require you to continue to do something. And people don't want that. And then people go to something that is easy, it's like a shortcut. Something that will not require me to think a lot.
To work hard.
Why should I? If I can, because you see, one thing in Australia is like any job can give you a life. Can
give you the money. Yes.
Yeah, the money and the life that you want. And it gives you the money, but after are
you fulfilled?
That's the thing. After the end of it all, because again, you can't force people to do, because your passion will be different. You may be, I can say, I don't want everyone to do IT. That's the thing. Yeah, you can be doing something different. You get? Yeah, so it's what you decide to do, because there is a lot of opportunity. Let's not be constrained in a certain box. This is the box that is there. This is the box that we need to fit in. But we need to go outside the box and just do something. It's not easy. People will look at you as like stupid in the sense.
Yeah.
Because I know they're like, oh, it's money. They will like, it's money. Yeah, but say you look at yourself like as an individual, what do you want? Everything is possible. Not everyone can have the same path. Not everyone can be a nurse. That's the thing. Yeah, not everyone can be a doctor.
Find your path. Find your why.
Yeah, find your path.
Find your why.
Yeah, find your why. That's the word. Yeah.
Amazing, Steve. Now I want, after all this, all these lessons, amazing wisdom, and getting to where you are, practicing in a career that you've practiced for the past so many years. What message do you have for our diaspora people, our African brothers? Anything. Your final remarks. Any message that you have. Any encouraging word as we wrap up tonight. What message do you have for our African brothers?
What I'll say is that hard work pays, and we just need to remain focused on the goal. We just as an individual, what do you want to become? Work it, you can become anything. Yep. Just believe and you can become anything. Nothing is impossible. That's the thing.
Where?
You don't need to know anyone, but when you stick to your goal, whatever field that is, you'll still be successful. Yeah. Wow. Anything is possible. Yeah.
Anything is possible. That's the word of a wise man right there, Steve. It has been an amazing journey with different hurdles, but you stuck to your guns and you said, I'm going to do the job that I was doing and the course and the IT sector. Now you're doing cybersecurity. Amazing. We celebrate you. Keep going. And for people who have questions, maybe they need a mentor, maybe they need to ask about cybersecurity, IT. Are you open? And how can they reach you, Steve?
I think my email, my number will be there in the screen. Yeah, so they can reach out to me.
Amazing. And are you on social media? Maybe because of maybe where they can DM or whatever. Are you on social media or not? Or
yeah. I think I'm on social media. All my accounts are just Steven Opisa, Instagram, Facebook. I'm not on TikTok.
Amazing. So I'll just leave the links down there. If you have any questions on IT, how to go about choosing a career, because for him, the transition was from Africa to Australia, and we've seen it's possible, because a lot of people think you have to come back and study again. But I wanted us to answer that question. It's actually possible for you to transition your skills from Africa and come and do the job in Australia. You don't have to come and study again. So if you have any questions for Steve, please feel free. Reach out to Steve and he's going to answer all the questions that you need. But for tonight, we want to say thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Thank to Pauline for giving you this time as well, and always being there to support you. And as the Konekt, we want to say thank you. And may God bless you. And for our audiences right there, we're going to catch you on the next one. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you.
Amazing.